He took my hands that day, and he said, I have my grandchildren in a school in South Carolina, in a middle school, that is horrible. He said, I've been in schools all over this country, and if I could put my grandchildren anywhere, I'd put them with you.
Well, now, he told me that too, Patsy.
Oh, did he really? Well, now, they do say that.
He just said that ours was the best middle school in the country.
Right. They do say that when Detroit, I think Detroit City or somewhere up there wanted to come look at a Lighthouse School to Watch program, Linda Hopping tells me that they always give them Webbridge and Upson Lee Middle School to come visit, and so they station themselves in Atlanta and they come down to me because I'm kind of rural, and then they go, or either they'll go to Webbridge first. But we were needs improvement, and fault coming off. I mean, it was horrible. I had like 225 SWD students in the school. And the SWD math was what was hurting me. And it's still, we need 3 more students right now to make it, and we've got to test next week. But it's SWD math I've already made it in the language, and we have really high scores, so that's one thing that helps us, and that John and Linda have always been able to look at for us, because we are closing achievement gaps. We've closed some. We're like 98 to 100% passing in reading in the 8th grade for the ED, for the free and reduced. We have 74% free and reduced. So we do struggle with certain populations, but it's still an excellent school to be in. So you can be struggling with scores, but you've got to show that everybody's improving. Whether they're making AYP or not, you've got to show that they're improving. Even now, right now, I think they'd like for you to be making AYP where we can stay friendly with the State Department. But the main issue is once you get on there, as long as you're improving those scores, they're not going to take it away from you. But now, Lighthouse School is something that once you get it, you don't keep it. They come every 3 years, and you better be good.
It's a team of 6 to 8 principals, assistant principals who are in Lighthouse schools who've been trained to come in, and they take the rubric, and they're in your school for 2 days, and they talk to everybody.
They do.
You know that teacher that you want to hide in the back corner, you don't want to go in her room? They're going in her room. And she'll be the one to talk a lot. And you can't hide one thing. They'll talk to children. They'll talk to the custodians. They'll talk to parents. You have to have meetings with the parents and the business partners. They talk with everybody. It's a little bit intimidating when the committee comes in.
Right. You
just have to go, there's nothing I can do. It is what
right. And I've been in a Lighthouse School on one of the committees where the Lighthouse School lost their designation. Now that's a hard one to be in because we become like sisters and brothers. We're very, we do a lot of networking. If I have a problem, I just soon pick up the phone and call Elizabeth or Lynn Patton. I'll call someone that's in that lighthouse and say, in that group, and say, tell me what you're doing with so-and-so. Because I called her recently about that Georgia 411 project that didn't get off the ground good this year, but about the career thing. But I'm always looking to someone in that network to help us. So the networking is very strong, and when we meet, we used to have a summit more often, and when we did, there's so much you learn from each other, because every one of these schools has something fabulous going on for children. You do see positive, happy, involved students. The most often given response when you ask my children what did they like best about Upson Lee Middle School, and there are about 1,100 of them, and when you ask them, 9 out of 10 when Sachs was there, 10 out of 10 when when they did the GAPS review, they always say, my teachers love me. And that's the way they feel. They know it.
And their teams, they had put everybody on their teams and had teams of 7 and 8 and 9 people. They didn't get the Lighthouse because their teams were not small learning communities. At my school, we've got 2-person 6th grade teams, 3 and 4 in the 7th and 8th grade. You know, when you start getting 8 and 9 people on a team, that's not a team.
No, that's a junior high.
It's a junior high, and so that was the one big thing that kept this school from, they got Beacon, but they didn't get Lighthouse because of that. So these things are, I mean, it looks real simple up here, small learning community, that's a biggie.
It is a biggie, and it's one of my stretch goals because I can't seem to get there because I have teams of 4 and 5, and I wouldn't have the 4 because we separate lit and language because they come to us. The data has shown us, because you're going to study data if you're Lighthouse School to watch, the data has shown us that we can make between a 20 and a 30% jump in language arts from the 5th to the 6th grade. But we haven't had the leadership in place at the 5th grade to work with us. So as the system tries to say they have a K-12 initiative, that's one thing that's going to help us. But the small learning communities, we keep our lit and language separated because they are so weak in language when they get to us. Teams of teachers and students, a culture of advocacy in which all students are known and valued. It doesn't mean you have to know every child, but it means that somebody in that building has to know that child, and that child has to feel comfortable enough that they can walk in her office or my office and say, I've got a problem. And believe me, they do. You talk about a revolving door and an open door policy for teachers, you have to have it for the students too.